But I want to share his story before I continue talking about this, because I feel like this rhetoric has been just crazy. We gotta come and think about the person, think about the person's story, and humanize that person again. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Okay, so this is the story of a dreamer, and this is his story. Alejandro's dad applied to become a permanent resident in 1999 through his father, Alejandro's paternal granddad. At the time, Alejandro's dad was 20 years old. In 2004, Alejandro was born, and he was soon included in this process. In 2006, his parents decided to cross over. This is when his mother, his father, and he officially became an undocumented family living in the United States. In 2009, they were supposed to obtain their papers. They were supposed to get their green cards, but no. His father was over the age of 21, meaning that he was not a minor under his father, so they had to wait for a different visa. But a miracle happened in the year of 2012. DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival status, began accepting applications. He was 8 years old at the time. He just had to wait until he was 15 years old to apply. In 2017, it was announced that DACA was no longer accepting new applications starting in 2018. In 2017, he was 13, so he couldn't apply regardless, but now he couldn't even hope to apply in the next 2 years. If he could, he would have applied, but again, no. In 2020, it was announced that new applications were being accepted once again for DACA. In 2021, he was 17, so he met the age requirement and applied for DACA. Just a month later, the Texas ruling made it so that new applicants were no longer accepted. He was so close, but again, no. As of January of 2024, he is 20 years of age, just like his father. In a year, he will no longer be considered a minor under his parents. Unlike his father, since he is not a son of the citizen sponsoring, which is his grandfather, he cannot so simply move to another visa. He no longer stands in a line. It's almost 2025, almost 26 years since the process started. Almost 16 years since his and his dad's visas were denied. Almost 7 years since DACA stopped accepting new applicants for the first time. Almost 4 years since DACA stopped accepting new applicants for the second time. Now, he no longer stands in a line. The Visa Bulletin Board shows that the visa his dad is waiting for is now accepting Mexican individuals who applied in the year 2000 and earlier. It's his turn. It's been his turn. But he is defeated. He has too many bills to pay and his family to feed. And he just doesn't think anything will come out of it. And most importantly, he was doing this for his son above anything else. He was willing to travel to states, pay the thousands of fees, and do anything it took. But if his son is kicked out of the process, it's just not as worth it to him, especially since nothing is likely to come out of it for other arbitrary legal reasons. Alejandro is a junior in college now. Thanks be to God that he's there and that he made it this far. Thanks be to God for the trailblazers and everyone who fought to make the existing opportunities available. But as you get older as an undocumented person, the opportunities start to become really slim and harder to achieve. Honestly, for him personally, his parents always told him to work hard and not be scared of a job. As long as he's not compromising his values and principles or doing something crazy, any job is a decent and honorable job, and he has to put his all into it. He really doesn't care too much about working in construction after graduation, but when he got accepted into an Ivy League, when he was living in his small home with his sisters and parents and found out, he was so happy and excited. He didn't just do it for himself. He was most excited because he wanted his parents to see that their efforts and sacrifices paid off. He wanted to be a role model for his siblings and cousins and everyone around him that thought it couldn't be possible. So he's just scared that they're going to see him, one of the first that went to college, and see that he was not able to reach his potential, and then think that they can't do it either. That's one of the things that he fears the most, And that is what is pushing him to not settle as much as he can, even now. And so yeah, that was the story. And like, just like sit with that. Let that really like, just like sit with that. You know? Like, it just makes me mad, like, when I hear so many people talk about why don't they just become legal? Like, why don't they just get their papers? Do it the right way. You know? It just makes me upset. And honestly, it makes me, like, upset, too, that, like, even immigrants that have gone through, like, the super, like, annoying, like, immigration process, that they're out here being, like, upset, too. At, like, other immigrants that are undocumented when they know themselves how difficult it is. And how it's not fair, yo. I mean, like, the story, it was like, what, like, it was like 26 years? What, they brought him over when he was like 2 years old? His whole lifetime waiting? That's one thing you can't get back, yo. You can't get time back. You can get money back, you know? But you can't get time back. Is that really fair, yo? Is that, like, I don't know. I feel like that's just an injustice, yo. Like saying, oh, just get in line. But then it takes like 20 years. 26 in this case. Like, yo, are you serious? And it's crazy because especially like for a lot of like Mexican immigrants that come here, like I got family members, and like the majority of them that come here, they're working in construction jobs. The ladies are usually working like in hotels, cleaning houses, McDonald's, stuff like that. Like, it's not that easy to be out here providing for your family to begin with. And then to be having to like travel the states, having to like pay all the thousands of fees that the lawyers require. That's like commitment right there. But it's not easy. It's just not easy. And some people have it easier than others. That's why it makes me mad too when it's like, when some people are like, oh yeah, we want to bring in like the immigrants that are already educated and all that type of stuff and make them like, you know, legal or whatever. Like, that's not fair, yo. That's not fair for people that are actually trying to be here, and maybe their children will be the ones that are educated because of the opportunities that you could get here. But them themselves, they're not going to qualify for a visa to be like sponsored for an employer. That doesn't mean that they're worth less, though, or their children. It just makes me irritated. And I'm gonna show y'all a video in a second. Like, I just wanted to like come on here and talk about it because I just keep hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, yo, I can't just sit here like acting like nothing's happening. Like, I gotta talk about this. Like, this is crazy, especially from a perspective of like a Latino and stuff, and knowing people that, you know, I care about, that are going through the process of like trying to regularize and stuff, but it's just so difficult. Or people that just can't even stand in a line. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,